and welcome to your weekly butter of the electric car toast, brought to you by the team at electrifying.com. I just want to say that was written by Mike, and I'm quite a fan of that opening sentence. On this podcast, on the podcast this week, we're going to chat about the stuff that we've been driving, MG's baby Land Rover Defender, and Leap Motors' plans for European domination. We'll also help a listener choose their next EV and air your complaints and compliments from last week's show. Welcome to the Kilowatt Half Hour podcast. Is it now the Kilowatt Hour?
Yeah, someone's changed that. It used to be the half hour. I think someone else owns the Kilowatt Hour. So, for legal reasons, that's the Kilowatt Half Hour.
It's definitely the Kilowatt Half Hour. Yeah, even though
somewhere
we
in
definitely
between.
go over every time.
Yes, the somewhere in between podcast.
It's the Kilowatt kind of whatever time you fancy podcast. I'm Nicola.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Mike.
Right then, team. What we've been driving. Shall I start?
You should start. Yeah, you've had more. You're the one that goes places and does things.
I've been doing a lot of things, actually. Yeah, it's been quite busy. I drove the new Suzuki Vitara last week.
Yeah.
Oh, your face in the in the thumbnail picture of that said it all.
Yeah. Was it not good?
I'm not going to say it's not good. I'm going to say it's perfectly fine. It's a perfectly fine car, but it feels like a car that Suzuki had to make rather than wanted to make. That's what it feels like.
Okay.
A lot of their numbers still don't quite make sense, and it just feels like there's just been very minimal effort put into it. And I think we're all just kind of aware of, their lack of care for the EV side of things anyway, from when I first went to the walk around in Milan last November. And we were asking so many questions about their move over to the EV market. And they were like, well, we'll see how this goes. And then maybe we'll say, I don't really know. I don't really care. That's pretty much just like from Mr. Suzuki himself. So you can definitely see that in the car. But it's fine. It's fine.
Well, yeah. And we know from the history, some perfectly fine car. I mean, the people who bought the Honda Ernie in it, the ENY1, they love it, don't they? And that felt like a real compliance car. It felt like a car they had to do under sufferance with, somebody saying, you've got to make an electric car. So, don't spend too much time on it, but we need one kind of thing.
There seems to be something going on with the Japanese market at the moment, I think, when it comes to EVs. It's like even Nissan have just kind of pulled back from everything that they were doing. They were one of the first ones throwing themselves into the EV world with the Leaf, and the Leaf is still a cracking car, even though they've stopped making it, but it's still wonderful. The Ariya was doing pretty well, and then they just kind of went, that'll do. And then it's the same with Toyota. It's the same with Suzuki, similar with Honda. It's like they've all kind of gone, we don't really see it as the future, which I find quite interesting considering Japan's quite a futuristic country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, I also drove the Zeekr 7X as well.
Yeah, that video's done huge numbers, hasn't it?
Cracking car.
What's the appeal? You like it? Okay, now we're talking. Now your face is lit up.
Right,
yeah,
right.
I can see.
So I think it's maybe starting to get obvious from a lot of the car reviews that I'm doing that I'm starting to get bored of SUVs. So
Tough.
I turned up to the launch and I was like, well, it's just going to be another blooming SUV, isn't it? They're all starting to look the same. They're starting to feel the same. And I sat in it and I went, oh, bloody hell, this is very nice. Then started driving it and I went, oh, bloody hell, this drives great. And then even just the power underneath it feels great and suits the car. And it handles brilliantly, and the tech and everything inside it I thought was fantastic, and the quality is just great. And I can kind of see, I mean, it's going to be a while until they end up on our laps in the UK. It's going to be like another 18 months or something until they arrive here, but I think Zeekr might end up taking over the world. That's what I think might happen.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That car, when I saw that video and I thought, well, this is all very impressive, but the front of that car reminded me of something and it bugged me and I couldn't think what it was. And then I saw the car that it reminded me of and I went, that's it. And it's the first generation Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV before they facelifted it. So they did a really clever facelift that made it look quite nice and dramatic. And before that, it was slightly like, sad.
And look it up now.
That's a real specific car nerdism you've got going on there.
Well, that's what I do. I sit in traffic and look at cars and go, oh. Don't you do that? Like when you're on the motorway and it's night and you see like a light signature, especially on electric cars now, which have the ones that goes across the whole width of the car, and you go, oh, I've never seen that one before. I wonder what that tail light is. Yeah. And you have to like catch it up or slow down so you can. It's a Cupra Terramar or something. Oh, I've never seen one of those before.
Have you Googled it now, Mike? Can you see?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I mean, it's passing. I wouldn't say it's a doppelganger, but anyway.
You haven't got a design eye like me, Mike.
I'll give you. Okay, clearly.
What have you guys been up to?
Well, it's been ages since I've been on a pod, so I've done quite a lot. I drove that Tesla Model Y.
Oh yeah.
And it's quite interesting. I thought it's got the thing, with indicators and the whole thing about indicators on the Model 3, which I hadn't tried, with being on the steering wheel. And the Model Y's got a stalk, and that's all great. What I hadn't realised is that it's got kind of intelligent indicators. So it cancels when it thinks you want to cancel. So you can be on a roundabout and you come off the roundabout and then it knows. So, normally it just, when you go past a certain place, it clicks off.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a bit too early and you just naturally go like that. I found myself going, oh, I didn't have to re-indicate or I didn't have to cancel it there. I wonder why that was. And I realised it's doing it automatically from the cameras.
So it's not relying on a sort of cheap plastic flap within the side of the steering column like normal indicators do.
No, okay. It's a proper thing where it's looking at the camera. It knows from the roads and
that's clever.
Where
did it work?
Yeah, it worked really well. Brilliant. And I didn't realise it was one of those technologies you think, that was a bit. Why did it do that? Is it broken? Oh no, this is quite clever.
Yeah, so it's more like technology based than it is on the amount you've turned the steering wheel based.
Yeah, which is a very strange thing to get used to.
I wonder if that worked because I have to signal right to turn off one road into my road, but that said first road is a very long left-hander. So when I put the indicator on, as I'm turning the wheel left, it always clicks off. You have to put it on 2 or 3 times before it kind of, So I wonder if it would know that. If if you're turning right, it wouldn't automatically switch it off. I don't know.
Interesting.
But that was to get all booked in. But
yeah, it's a strange thing. The thing that stuck out for that car most for me was the indicators. And the efficiency. Okay. I mean, it was all right.
Yeah, but we're nerds. We spot stuff like that.
I know, we're nerds. So. Yeah.
We do love an indicator. We do.
Yeah. What else? The Hyundai Insta. We had one in for a future video. We didn't drive it, but we just had a poke around it. And that was a bit of a surprise because I've always had a bit of a downer on that car. And it was bigger than I thought and slightly funkier.
I haven't seen one in the metal.
No, I haven't seen one in the metal. I'm with you, Tom. I was slightly kind of, I'm not sure. And, it reminded me of some of those sort of late 90s sort of Daihatsus and things like that kind of came over and died a death. So I was interested.
I think that the one we had was kind of khaki camo satin green.
Okay.
And then, and it's quite, like you say, those Japanese cars are all, they all have small wheels and things. And it looked kind of chunky. But then it had really big, low-profile tyres and chunky wheels on it. And I don't think that worked quite as well. But I think it's a pleasant surprise. I think a lower spec one would be quite nice. I'll put it on chunky wheels. And I've got a Grandland in, which I've never seen one before. And it's turned up. So I know you did the video. I watched your video again before it arrived.
Your thoughts on the brakes, please?
I haven't driven it yet. It's literally arrived this morning. So I don't. What's wrong with the brakes? Are they a bit sharp?
Don't tell him. Don't find out.
Okay, all right. Well, it is in the video. So if you said you've watched the video, you're clearly lying.
Oh, doesn't it do something? Yes, I remember. It does the. Doesn't it do something?
It stops and wobbles. No matter how soft you are on the brakes, the whole car stops and the whole car wobbles. And it's the first time I'd experienced that in a long time. And I've driven so many Stellantis cars that similar size, but it's the only car that does that. And I couldn't quite figure it out. But every time, even if you're really, really gentle, every time you would stop at traffic lights, the whole car was wobbling.
Doing that.
So I hope hopefully they fixed that since I drove it last year.
Software.
Or not. We'll find out from Tom. Software. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yes. Mike?
Well, I've saved us a lot of time later this year because I found our car of the year already. I drove it last week. Yeah, so it saves us another 10 Zoom course, isn't it? It's the Abarth 600. I'm afraid.
Oh,
Tom's shaking his head already.
No.
I'm interested in this. Go on.
I mean, I went on the launch of it, which, as we know, a Stellantis launch. I mean, my memory is more of the kind of terrible coach ride from the airport than it was the car. But I remember now, as soon as I drove it, the car is really good. I think what Abarth have done is just think, well, we're going to put up with all these people moaning about Abarth being an electric brand and, getting a lot of stick basically from the fan base who bought the car, and they've actually thrown the kitchen sink at this. So it's a little bit reminiscent. Tom will get this reference, you probably won't because you're too young. Ford Racing Puma, and cars like that, and like the early Focus RS. I don't think it's quite in that league, but it's that kind of almost built for, we don't care how hard this thing is. We don't care how direct the steering is in it. We don't care how grabby the brakes are. We're going to build this because people want a kind of performance car, a sports car, rally car on the road. And it does have that feel, even down to the Alcantara steering wheel with a sort of leather band at the top that tells you where it's centered and everything. It's way better than the 500 was. The 500 one was just that kind of noisy thing, that sort of farty exhaust thing, and the steering wheel and everything. But fundamentally, it didn't feel that great. But 600 feels terrific. But people liked it for different reasons. Some people like the noise generator thing, which drives me insane. It's the first thing I turned off. But there are people, when I took it to the running club, who just said, "Oh, that's great. That's what. It sounds like a proper car." They loved it. They loved that. My daughter liked it because it was purple. So there you go. That's tick that box.
Yeah.
Not everyone liked it. It was a little bit firm. It's not the kind of thing you really want to do a long journey in. But I just had a sense of fun to it. I really enjoyed it. I think have you driven one yet?
No.
But you've driven the Alpha Junior, haven't you? Which is basically kind of the same.
I've not driven it. I only walked around the Alpha Junior. Yeah, so I haven't had the joy of driving it yet. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's pretty much kind of built, to think, well, I don't care. We almost don't care what people think about it because it drives, and it's got this tricky diff in it. So if you put your foot down on a roundabout, instead of sort of spinning all the power away on the inside wheel, it does that kind of pulling, kind of that sort of torque sensing sort of differential, limited slip differential. So it means the car still grips and goes around the corner. And it's got Alcon brakes. It's got the Sabelt seats, proper kind of competition seats that kind of hold you in and everything. So yeah, it's really good fun. I mean, I doubt they'll sell any, but it's really. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it didn't get toned down. So yeah, I was very sad to see that one go. Actually,
I don't think I've ever seen you be so positive about a car.
I wait till Jenny's not on the podcast, then I'm enthusiastic about something. So.
There we go.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, I think it's like most cars I like. 99% of the population probably couldn't stand it, but yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to driving that then.
Yeah,
very nice.
Get on in.
Yeah.
You can have it. I'm not bothered.
Yeah, it's a real. Tom will hate it. Honestly, if you thought the Mini Cooper felt like that would make the Cooper feel like an armchair. This does. So yeah.
But I mean, it's a big question, but what are Stellantis doing with all these brands? I mean, Abarth, Alfa Romeo, they sell like 3 cars a year or something. And then you look at things like even Citroen, they're being outsold by MG, and all these other brands are coming along. They're just going to have a car, aren't they? I mean,
there's just so many of them.
It's not worth printing the brochure.
Yeah. I walked around the EC5 Aircross last week. Annoyingly, I can't tell you too much about it, but I can tell you that I was pleasantly surprised by it, which was nice.
Good. Well, Citroen's one of the brands that should come back, isn't it? But I mean, Abarth?
DS. Can I throw DS at you while with it?
Yeah.
Maserati. All these things that must be costing them a fortune.
Yeah, about Maserati. It's just a brand.
Just the Chinese will want Maserati, won't they? They love a bit of heritage.
Yeah.
Sell them all.
What wasn't the story that Volkswagen tried to buy Alfa Romeo? And Fiat said no. So Volkswagen just went, well, we'll just make one. And they made Cupra, which is now outselling Alfa Romeo by a factory.
There are so many sliding door moments in motoring history. I mean, we can't go into all of them. I mean, Skoda were almost bought by Renault, because the Czech government basically put Skoda up for sale because they needed some money. And put it out to tender. And Renault was the preferred bidder right up until the 11th hour when the Volkswagen Group said, well, look, we're going to carry on building cars in Prague, and I think that was the deal breaker between it. But yeah, up to that point, it was going to go to Renault. So who knows what would have happened, then if it wasn't part of the Volkswagen Group. So yeah, it's lots of strange moments that could have changed the course of history.
Yeah. Shall we move on to news?
Yep.
Go on then. Go for it, Mike.
Well, it's strange. There's been a Shanghai Motor Show this week. And,
it's everywhere. Everyone's posting about it because everyone's there but us, by looks of things.
Clearly not there. Yeah. And one of the more unusual cars, I guess, to come out, which is a bit of a surprise, was the MG Cyber X, which is a concept car, and there's a story about it on the electrifying.com site. But I've sort of described it as an electric sort of baby Land Rover Defender, but only from the point of view is it's very boxy. It's very hard to sort of work out the size of it, but I believe it's around the size of the kind of their sort of mid-spec SUV. Kind of size. It doesn't look overly huge, but also it's apart from they want to use the Cyber as a kind of name tag for their more premium offerings. But yeah, I mean, the name alone has got to be trolling Elon Musk, hasn't it? Cyber X. I mean, that's two of his.
I didn't even think about
favorite words, isn't it? Yeah. Letters in one go. So yes, I imagine that's something to do. That's probably a little bit of a dig.
Is this the one? I think I saw it online. Is this the one that's got the pop-up lights?
Yeah, but it's got a face a bit like a sort of character out of Cars or Toy Story. It's got these strange kind of eyes and a sort of mouth. It looks very strange.
I quite like the pop-up lights though. Bring them back.
Yeah, well, yeah, he said Joseph Caban, who's the chief designer at MG, used to be at Skoda and Bugatti, he likes to remind people. It has these little pop-up lights we said were inspired by a Ferrari Testarossa. Yeah, I look at the car and I don't think Ferrari Testarossa is the first thing that sort of springs to mind in terms of
just the lights, exactly.
Just the lights.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not sure we need cars that look like that. But then, the Jimny did really well, and that was a small, chunky looking square off-roader, wasn't it? So,
and who doesn't love a Jimny?
It looks a bit like that Yang Wang.
Love it.
You know that Yang Wang? Do you remember that thing that could float on water and had 1,800 horsepower and was...
the one that could sort of turn around on itself, that one.
Yeah, it looks a bit like that.
Doesn't look a bit like that.
Yeah, but that was massive. I don't know if it's as big as the Yang Wang.
It's not that big.
The Yang Wang, was it the U8?
No, there are countries that are smaller than the Yang Wang U8.
Yeah, that's true.
Or is it Y8?
Get your own postcode with a Yang Wang.
Yeah, so there's that. And what else have we got going on? Leap Motor, again at the Shanghai Motor Show. It's very easy to lose track of Leap Motor numbers, isn't it? As Tom said, they all sound like paper sizes. So the B05, which is going to be a slightly sort of smaller Volkswagen ID3, MG4, saloon hatchy sort of thing, not an SUV. There are no pictures of it yet. Apparently it flashed up on the screen behind the presentation, but nobody kind of caught it. But that could be one of their big volume market cars. But it does bring into question the whole Stellantis thing again, is that, Leap Motor being bought in by Stellantis, it's a partnership between the two of them, a joint venture. At what point does that start to cross over with, EC4, Astra, that kind of thing? We've already said they've got enough brands, and we forgot to mention Leap Motor a second ago because that's just another that's a Freudian slip, isn't it? Another brand that's going to compete with their existing product. So are there enough customers for all these cars that are coming in?
They're just throwing everything and hope something sticks. Basically, that's what's happening.
I'm going to guess that the marketing people are going to call it the B05 rather than the BO. Theo has
probably for the best, only for stinky people. Yeah.
No one wants to park next to it.
Can I point out something that I spotted on Twitter earlier? I very rarely open Twitter, but I did. Sorry, X.
Good reference to the old name. Yep, good.
But I looked on it, and I know because Steve Fowler is out there at the moment, and we all know and love Steve Fowler of automotive fame. And he posted a video. I think it was of a Zeekr. And it was the technology over in China. And it shows you on the maps how long a traffic light stays red or green while you're approaching it. So as you're approaching a traffic light, you can see off in the distance there's like a green or a red light. And then it's counting down the seconds of how long that's going to be green for before it's about to change again.
How does it know? Because they're all different, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. exactly. So I don't know. They're all just kind of plugged into this amazing system in China. I'm telling you, the Chinese are just like their technology is insane. Because even when I drove the 7X, they were telling us about their self-charging infrastructure that they've got going on in their multi-story car parks in China. So you would park up your Zeekr at the entrance of a multi-level car park, get out the car then drives itself down the levels, stops for barriers, stops for people, whatever, and reverse drives itself into a parking space, and then a robot arm comes out and charges the car at 350 kilowatts, done in 10 minutes. Car drives itself back up, parks itself up until you're ready to get in the car. And I was like, that's crazy. And then I saw someone posted a video of it on Instagram. So it's actually out there and working.
It's not just someone's idea, it's just actually, it is already...
It's a thing. It's happening. Chinese brands, I'm telling you, Zeekr's coming. And they're just going to go, here we go, let's take over the world. And I'll go, yeah, all right then, that's nice, because I quite like your brand.
That's that established. Brilliant.
Yeah, there you go.
What else happening, Tom?
A bit more down to earth, I suppose. Elrock VRS, which is a car that I'm very curious about, but they've announced the pricing and the specs. So basically 46.5 grand for the, and it's the fastest accelerating Skoda production car ever.
Ooh.
Now, the reason this car, I'm curious about it, is because if you've got electric cars and you've got a platform and you are making from it a Cupra, which is sporty, and then you've got a Skoda, which is a bit softer and a bit more refined, you can kind of see there's a difference. And Volkswagen have done a great job of that, because I think the Elrock rides beautifully, and for old boring gimmers like me, it's fine. And then if Mike wants something that's going to fracture his spine when he goes over a cat's eye, then there's a Cooper or something for him. And that's quite clever. Now, what this appears to be, the Elrock VRS, is a very nice, soft, refined car that they then made sporty. And I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. Maybe it will. I mean, I kind of Mercedes AMG, I suppose, because Mercedes were always those nice, soft, not too sporty, but then the AMG was. But I don't know. I'm curious about it. I want to go in one.
Is there much difference in external design in the VRS compared to the normal Elrock, or is it just a really nice sleeper?
Well, it's kind of, the colour of a highlighter pen, and and has black bits on it. So it does look quite funky. I've always liked a sporty looking Skoda's really nice, isn't it? Some of those Sportline Enyaqs that they had at the launch, or that blue or flat red and things with the nice big wheels, they look really, really good. So yeah, it looks great. I'm just curious about how it's going to work.
Okay. We'll wait and then see if you enjoy driving it, and then if not, we'll just give it to Mike, because we know he'll love it.
Anything lime green. Yeah.
Anything lime green and he's happy.
Yeah.
Right, do we have a Barnard's bargain? It's been a while since we've had one.
A while. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, well, I'm glad you don't do it when I'm not around. Well,
we do. But
makes
we
me feel
holics of it.
Yeah. So, talking of world domination of Chinese brands, BYD were talking, I think, at one of those press conferences about how they're going to be a top 5 brand in the UK shortly. And you think, well, that's not going to happen. And then you see that some brands like MG are already getting on that way. So BYD are starting their world domination by doing some really keen leasing deals at the moment. So the guys that we get our leasing deals from, they ring me up and go, oh, we've got some good deals. So the BYDs, you look at them. So a Seal, and a Seal's a Model 3 rival, isn't it? It's 360 quid a month. 360 quid a month with reasonable terms. That's or Atto 3s, 326. So to give you an example, a Kona on a pretty good deal on the same terms is 411. So the Atto 3, it's a car that's kind of it's all right, isn't it? It's not one you'd heartily recommend that people have to go out and buy. But when it's 90 quid a month less than a Kona, you go, well, that's going to sharpen your focus a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a huge difference.
So here's another one for you. An iPace for £535 a month, or a Lexus RZ for $520. Now, to give you an example, an Enyaq, the top spec Enyaq, again on a bit of a deal. So the 85X is 520 quid a month. So you can have a Lexus RZ 450, the full bells, the full whistle one, really fast, or an I-Pace for the same sort of money as a Skoda.
I don't know.
So
I don't think either of those particularly appeal. But
no.
But you've driven. You like an RZ. You lived with an RZ for a while, didn't you?
I lived with an RZ, and the 450, the fast one, was too flawed. It was hugely inefficient and expensive. But then I had the 2-wheel drive one and thought it was a really nice car.
So which would you have then? You wouldn't have a Jag.
I'd like to say, well, the thing is, the I-Pace is a bit old now, but it's still pretty good, isn't it? I
did enjoy it when I drove it last year. Yeah,
I've got those images of all those ones that they had to recall and stack up and basically scrap because the engines, the motors went, or it was the batteries, wasn't it? Went pop. And
I haven't driven an I-Pace in a long time. So you
hear people who are very happy with their I-Paces, including Ben, who works with us. He's never had any issues, has he? But other people are just can't get on with them. But
no,
it's I'd probably have the I-Pace and wince and hope I get away with it.
It says says the Land Rover owner. Yeah. Yes.
Or for 200 quid less, get yourself a BYD. Done.
Yeah.
Sold.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
All good.
Right. Shall we mention our wonderful sponsors?
I think we should.
This episode of the Kilowatt Half Hour is brought to you with the help of Anderson EV. So if you're into design as much as you are into electric cars, you will love their home chargers.
Anderson's A2 and A3 aren't just functional, they're beautifully made with a choice of 200 colours and finishes, so they can blend in with your home or be made to match your car.
No bulky boxes, just smart tech that looks great and works. You can find them at anderson-ev.com.
Gorgeous. Right, shall we move on to some car buying questions?
Yes.
This is from Murray M, who asks, hey team, I currently have a Tesla Model 3 Performance on salary sacrifice that's due to be returned in December. While I may not agree with Elon, they do make great electric cars, but I'd still prefer a smaller car as it's just me usually in it. 90% of my driving is motorway with a daily commute of around 110 miles. Therefore, I feel I need a car with a minimum range of 250 miles with a heat pump. Decent acceleration of around 5 seconds. Boot space is not a priority either, but I would prefer a hatchback for practicality. So the options so far is the Volvo EX30, the extended range or the performance, the Cupra Born VZ, but this feels like an old car now, or the Skoda Elrock VRS that we've already just spoken prices on. So is there anything in particular that pops out in your heads?
That's a good shortlist, actually, isn't it? He's kind of done the hard work for us there.
Well, I don't think the Born VZ's feeling old. I mean, inside, perhaps a little bit, but it's still a great car.
It's still that's a brilliant car. Yeah.
Yeah. And even the standard Born is pretty good and top spec, and you can save yourself some money. The only other one I'd suggest is a smart, either #1 or #3, because they're quick. They've got the long range, decent tech.
You're basically getting an EX30, aren't you? But for less money.
Yeah, it seems like he wants a bit of fun. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, they do a Brabus one, don't they, of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's potty, that car.
Potty! I haven't heard that term in years. That is potty. I'm going to start using that again. So is that where your vote's going?
What would you choose out of those? If that was, I mean, let's say that shortlist is pretty much what we would shortlist as well. So what would you go for?
I'd lead towards the Cupra Born just because I think it's just a lovely looking car, and I think it drives brilliantly. It's really good fun, and it's the perfect size for what he's after. And I think it turns a few more heads than a Volvo does, definitely. Although the Elrock is also, that's a potential, isn't it? The VRS. Oh, I don't know. No, I haven't helped with this whatsoever.
No. Poor old Murray. He's going to be scratching his head thinking,
thanks for your help, guys.
I might as well just pull it out of a hat. Yeah. I would. I think I'd have the L-Rock, but I don't really. I mean, obviously, nobody's driven the VRS yet, but I've driven the normal one, and I thought that was, like Tom said, it's just a really nice combination. Traditionally Skoda VRS cars have managed to walk that tightrope of being sporty, but without being kind of hideously compromised. So I'd like to think that would continue, because the Enyaq VRS was nice. It was well put together and drove very well. So yeah, that would be much, especially if he thinks of the VA. The Born is getting a bit old now. Maybe that would be a good one to go for.
Is it due to have a facelift soon?
What, the Born?
Surely, yeah.
Well, it did have a bit of an update, didn't it? It got the big screen inside and a couple of other things.
Yeah, when was that? Like a year ago?
What I would say, though, if he thinks the Born feels like an old car, I think the L-Rock feels a little bit old as well already. I think the Born feels more up to date than the L-Rock.
Because of the design of it?
I think the L-Rock's quite a traditional car, which some people will love, and I liked it. The fact that it's got, the conventional electric window switches, for example. But I do fear that it will feel a bit old in 3 years'
especially
time.
Coming out of a Tesla where everything's kind of just button. It's all screens. It's very still even now. Most people would get in there and think, "Oh, it's really high tech in here, isn't it?" So maybe the L-Rock might be a bit more traditional, too traditional for him. I don't know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Tom, what you got?
Jeffers McJ asks, help, what car do I get? Stuck between the Cupra Born V2, a smart #1 Pro, or a Renault Megane E-Tech. Now, that's pretty similar, isn't it? Renault Megane E-Tech's kind of a car, one of those cars you forget about, isn't it?
It's a good car, though.
It is a good car.
Yeah, it's popular. Yeah, it's good deals on them as well, isn't
it? But it is easily forgotten about. I think because Renault are just churning out so many more cars now, and it just, everyone's getting more excited about the Renault 5 and about the Scenic, etc. But the Megane, I think, is a great little car.
I think you could put all three into that category of cars that people tend to sort of skim over, really. I think the Smart is... My dad's got a Smart #3, he loves it, but he says, I haven't seen another one in 6 months of owning it, at all. I can't remember the last time I saw a #3 or even a 1 for that matter. So
yeah, same.
But they're great. I mean, there's hundreds of EX30s around here, but no Smarts. So yeah, I think all three of them kind of go under the radar a little bit.
Which one would you have though?
I'd have a Smart. I'd have the Smart. I quite like it. I thought it was quite a nice car.
Is the Smart #1's the one with the little irritating fox thing, though, isn't it?
Fox, yeah.
It would really annoy me.
You could take it off, or you could just smash the screen. Or you could
maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
Post-it note over it. That would do the job, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like I'd just go for a Megane.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bad choice there, is there?
Yeah.
No.
Again, we haven't helped whatsoever because we've all gone different ways. So.
Okay, let's see. Right, the third one doesn't involve making a choice on cars, so we're okay on this one. Okay. So Dan McForrin writes, he said, following on from your question last week about driving across Europe, I have to drive to southern Spain on a family mission later this year. Sounds almost mafia-like, doesn't it?
Family mission.
Yeah. My wife is terrified of flying, but I'm equally terrified by the prospect of finding chargers along the way on my journey. Can you please assure me that we'll be okay? Any advice, apps, cars, etc. would be welcome. It's keeping me awake at night.
Oh, no. Oh, don't let that keep you awake at night. It's easier than you think.
Plenty more things to worry about than keeping you awake at night.
That's true. I mean, every time I've driven abroad or stopped at a services, there always seems to be a charger, just like here in the UK. So I don't think it will be that much of an issue. And you can, I mean, to be fair, I don't think I've ever used that map abroad.
I think Electroverse is particularly good for...
Yeah.
I mean, I think ZapMap's brilliant, UK, and obviously does have other bits and pieces around Europe, but I think Electroverse, because it has the charging card and shows you which ones are Electroverse compatible, and there's loads. I mean, when you sort of filter out just Electroverse stuff, very few dots disappear on the map. It's some of them. I mean, France is really good networks. Bits of Spain bits of Italy are a bit patchy, but you won't be going if you're in Italy and you're trying to get to southern Spain, you've gone gone wrong somewhere along the way.
There is some EU laws, aren't there, about you have to have a certain amount of electric charges on main routes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is, but every certain amount of kilometres. So that's why they're so good, because it's a legal requirement that they have to have the infrastructure. So I wouldn't let it keep me awake at night. If you look at those maps, there are loads and loads and loads of chargers. And if you go off the motorways and you go for a little bit of lunch, there's these pretty good 22 kilowatt chargers. And my next door neighbour's got a Kia EV6 and he goes abroad quite a lot in it. And he says his next car is going to be 22 kilowatt because these chargers, the cost of them is on time, not on kilowatts. So if you sit there and your car can only take 7 kilowatts, you're getting a third of the value of somebody who can charge at 22 kilowatts. So he said, if you plug in at one of these and you go and have a little bit of lunch at a nice little bistro, an hour later, you've got 22 kilowatts, which is a decent amount of juice.
Pretty good. I mean,
park there.
Dan doesn't say what car he's in. I mean, he might be in a Dacia Spring, in which case,
don't do it.
all bets are off. Really, ignore everything that we've said. Just
in which case, it's been nice knowing you.
But helpfully, for almost knowing what was going to come up in this week's comments, Narrowboat Longpod 4176 from YouTube says that anyone that's worried about driving EVs in Europe, there are still lots of videos on YouTube. Mr. EV Andrew Till, who actually did a really good blog for us, it's still on our site, isn't it, about driving, all the things you need to know, because if you go into certain countries, you do need sort of permits for driving and bits and pieces. He said, as long as your chosen vehicle can do about 250 miles, you should be fine on long trips. Charging speeds are now getting to the point where you risk incurring idle fees just grabbing a Starbucks. And so I think it's true, isn't it? I mean, modern cars, especially if you're going in the summer and it's with warm weather, as Tom says, the network of chargers in Europe is, well, that's a very general statement, but they are better than you might think. So I don't think you're going to have anything to worry about, Dan.
Fear not. And look, if you've got any more comments or any more questions, then you can drop us an email, podcast@electrifying.com, or just pop a comment in the section below if you're watching on YouTube. There's loads of comments that have come in about the Renault 5.
Yeah.
So over the last few podcasts, right, there's obviously been a lot of love for the Renault 5, and it seems like people are suggesting that we're on the Renault 5 payroll because we've been really nice about it. So Peter Martins 334 says, are you guys on the Renault payroll? Have Skoda stopped paying you for bigging up the Enyaq every 5 minutes? Seriously, the Renault 5 is just an average super mini that comes in pretty colours. I'm sure that all the designy people love it, but let the rest of us want a simple car that isn't going to look out of date in 6 months. Grow up!
Grow up in capitals.
Yeah,
that's angry, isn't it?
That's angry.
Wow. Imagine being triggered by being annoyed by a Renault 5.
Probably works for Ford or something.
Yes, Vauxhall been paid to do that. It's his only job is just to go onto comments and.
I'm sure the designy people love it.
Yes, walking around in their thick room spectacles, just saying how wow, this is great. I mean, I'm going to design something now. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know.
We did have that discussion, didn't we, about whether it will date or not, and decided that things like it
hasn't in 40 years, has it?
No,
otherwise they wouldn't have brought it back.
Nice.
But the reborn Volkswagen Beetle, which was around in 2000, I suppose, 1999, 2000, wasn't it? We decided did date.
Yeah, people got pretty fed up with that pretty quickly. Yeah.
The original Mini, which was around the same time, you see one now and it still looks quite modern.
That's true.
This is worth getting Manos on, because Manos is so convinced it's going to date really quickly. I don't think it will. I think it's one of those that's just going to keep going and going and going forever. But Manos is so convinced it's going to date really quick. I think it's great. I love the Renault 5.
I'm not taking car advice off Manos. I'm going to realise Manos is going to edit this, so that's it.
Yeah, he is.
I'm not going to be in this, am I? Yeah.
He's going to make you look fatter, Mike. He's just going to put wrinkles on you.
Just stink lines coming out of my...
I think Manos has got a very good grasp of car design. I think he's great.
There we go.
There you go. He's my favourite Greek.
There's also comments. This is from Gary, who says, I disagree about the boot being small on the Renault 5. It's a lot bigger than our 2020 Mini Cooper. So if you want a bigger boot, then buy a bigger car. I don't get the fascination with Renault. Its range is awful. It's stupidly small. It's not fast at all. Even the design is derivative. Yeah, what's going on here? I love the Renault 5. Here we go. This is from Martin. I love the Renault 5, but I just find that the efficiency hasn't moved on yet from the Zoe that seemed to have more or the same range.
Started positive, ended negative. There you go. What's the last one we've got?
Shall I do that? James McCormack, 3229. I get what you guys say about exciting EVs, having ordered an R5 myself.
Good.
However, a lot of people don't want exciting. They want average everyday cars, especially if switching from ICE to EV. They don't want spaceship design with lots and lots of tech. They want boring Subarus and Toyotas. I think the market needs some normal, everyday, every person looking EVs to help build the EV market up, and things that don't offend people and drive comfortably, have decent range and charging speeds. Well, I get that. I think the Renault 5 is one of those sorts of cars which is really going to push electric cars forward, because people will buy it because they like the car. They like the way it looks. And they like the way it drives, because it does. I think it is quite fast for what it is. I mean, if you drive it compared to one of the rivals, my God, it feels like a rocket ship. But
it's got near enough the same horsepower as the old R5 Turbo in the 80s.
And it was interesting. I was watching Harry Metcalf's video, watching Harry's talking about the Renault 5. And I always like to look at the comments, because Harry's audience is very traditional. It's very much internal combustion engine, power, performance, that kind of thing. So whenever he reviews an electric car, I'll look at it for entertainment, really. The comments down there are always, I'll wait for hydrogen. This isn't going to work. Oh, good luck if they burst into flames. Usually pages and pages and pages of all those kind of, just to remind yourself of all the anti-EV stuff. When you did the Renault 5, I think I was 4 or 5 page folds down before I find anything that was even remotely negative. It was all people saying, I hate EVs, but I'd have one of these. And it was all those comments. And that's the first time I've ever seen that. And it's interesting, isn't it? How people kind of, and it's only the design, because as we've said before, it's the same platform as a lot of other things, but it's the design that makes people want to go for it. So
it is, and that's how you bring a name back. That's how you do it.
So I know James has got a good point about, people don't want spaceships, and my i3 turns people's stomachs. They can't stand the look of it, but and I like it. But I mean, the Renault 5 is just, I think you do end up, I think the Renault 5 treads that line, doesn't it, of being different, but also familiar. And I think that's exactly why they're doing so well with it, because it's
cool, and it's futuristic, and also has lots of nostalgia. So that's nice.
Yep, it's all good.
This is a message from Jim Bob Roundhead 32.
Okay, worse, don't they?
Great podcast as always. 2 questions for you. Number 1, why didn't the Renault 5 or the new Tesla Model Y even make the shortlist for Car of the Year? I think the Renault 5 actually, I think this is what I heard right. The Renault 5 isn't available in enough countries for it to become...
Because it's World Car of the Year.
Or are we talking about our Car of the Year, not World Car of the Year?
World Car of the Year, yeah. I guess.
So that'll be the reason, is that it's not available in...
It's not in North America, is it? They're not selling... Renault don't sell in North America, do they? So
no.
I guess that's probably...
Model Y can't answer that one. No idea.
I presume
it's a facelift?
Tesla...
Maybe.
Could be. But it might just be that Tesla didn't make one available, because they have to have it available to test, don't they, for all the jurors to have a go in, and we've only just had a go in it, so presumably they didn't have it in all those markets in time.
So maybe for next year, who knows? Maybe. Oh, and secondly, did Mike or Tom ever resolve their toaster issue? My Morphy Richards 4-slice stopped working at the weekend, and I'm having to use the grill.
Retro. Yeah.
God, this is exciting. Yeah, let's talk toasters.
Yeah, it was me. It wasn't Tom. It was me, because my Smeg toaster packed up. Well, it didn't pack up. It only toasted half of the bread, so I had to stop and flip it over halfway. I know, it's the world's smallest violin playing. I know. I did replace it. Thank you for asking, Jim Bob. I bought a Rowlet one, and it's like a catering one. You have to look it up. It's like an old Land Rover Defender of toasters. You have to manually lower it, and it has a sort of clicky wheel thing that goes ping, like a sort of old bell when it finishes. It's great. I mean, it's completely square. It's totally like an old sort of 80s Volvo, but it's bright red. And it also comes with the replacement elements, which I didn't know came in the box with that. So when the elements fail, you just chuck another one in. So yeah, it's built in Bristol. So there you go.
Amazing.
Rich mate.
Did you do research to find out it was built in Bristol?
Yeah, of course I did.
Guys, It's built in Bristol. I'll take it.
That's right. We're built with West Country people. They know how to put a toaster together. So yeah, it's good.
Well, there we go. You've answered that question. Right, let's move on to insurance. So this is a message from Neil R. Williams 218. Getting insurance on my Kia Soul was interesting. When I first got it, the premium was in line with my previous Skoda Kamiq. However, renewals saw ridiculous hikes. Initially from £275 to £400 and then again to £531. Negotiation saw it drop to £377. Now, last January, they tried to hike it up to £501. At that point, I've had enough of the annual negotiation and changed insurer at £379. It will be interesting to see the renewal for my EV3 and what it's like in December, January time. Insurance hikes are insane, aren't
they? I have an amusing insurance story that my dad's insurance came up. And it had risen again, of course, and he's 87, my dad. And I thought, well, I'm going to try a trick that if you put me as a named driver on his insurance, it knocked 200 quid off. So, because the insurance company thinks, it's a bit like I'm a named driver on my son's insurance, because the insurance companies go, well, if somebody who's a lower risk is on that policy, there's a chance that they're not going to be, the risky person isn't going to be driving that car for that amount of time, and therefore they give you a discount on it. Okay. So my wife is on my insurance policy because it brings the price down.
What if you put George and Henry on it? Would that bring it down even further, Tom? On your one? Do you think it might go back up again?
So, but I have this amusing thing where, when I was 17, 18 and I was named driver of my mum's car, and my dad was always moaning about, it's costing lots of money. So now I'm going, I will go on your insurance, Dad, but it's a bit of a bind, getting my own back for all those years that he was moaning about me being an high risk driver. It's like, now you're the high risk driver, Dad. Yeah,
but 87 and still driving is insane, though, right?
God, yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But fair play to Neil, because when he gets a high insurance quote, he seems to go back to his insurance and negotiates like a sort of hostage negotiator. Whereas,
it's the way to do it.
Is it though? Because I would just give up and say, well, I'm just going to find a cheaper one. I don't think I've ever stayed with the same insurance company 2 years running, ever. Apart from once when I forgot. And you know what it is when you forget and you get an email saying, thanks for renewing. And you think, I did. It was then. But I always forget. But since then, I always change.
No, I've always stayed with the same insurer, and every time I get my renewal quote in, I call them up and I go, sort that out, please. That's way too high.
I know,
and they go, sorry. And they go, have you seen any more quotes? I'll look for some more quotes on, comparing websites or whatever. And I'll go, well, this place says this. And they'll go, oh, okay, we'll match it.
Really? Yeah. I've never had any joke.
I have the same thing. I have the same thing where I just ring them up and I go, look, I do through this every year. Should we do it again? Can you just get the bet? And they kind of laugh and go, yeah, all right. We'll match last year's.
Yeah, just phone them up.
It's just me then.
It's so easy, and then you don't have to change insurers. Just phone them up and go, what are you doing?
I hate talking to people. I'd rather change. Speak to somebody.
You do have to sit on hold for 27 minutes before you get through.
You do it all online. You do it all online. Just hand over your credit card and go onto one of the comparison sites, surely.
That's what I use. But anyway, there we go. One last one, Tom. For this podcast, given that we're cracking on for 50 minutes here.
The 50 minutes.
From Gazzy EV says, thanks for another great podcast. On the subject of EV insurance, I've never had an accident or claim in 42 years of driving, but when my renewal came through this year, the company refused to reinsure my Jag I-Pace. After going on to comparison site, further 2 companies would not insure the I-Pace. Crazy times.
Is that just because it's a car that they're not making anymore, so now they refuse to insure it? Is that what's the deal with that?
I think there's lots of things, isn't there? I mean, there's the insurance companies don't like risk, do they? So they, with the certainly with the thing about further 2 companies wouldn't insure it.
Sorry, that was my dog shaking.
That's often because some companies think, right, we only want to insure people who are between 40 and 50, and if you suddenly slip out of that bracket or the car, for whatever reason, becomes more of a liability, then they'll duck out. They'd rather not insure it. I wouldn't take that personally that you can't be quoted for things. But as for why they refuse to insure it, I don't know. I guess it's for the same reason that it's you've slightly fallen out of a bracket one way, or you or the car has become something they don't want to insure.
I know Jaguars and Land Rovers had a big problem with parts availability, didn't they, a year or so ago, where they moved warehouse or something and they couldn't find them, so people were having to wait like 3-4 months for a repair. So if you imagine you're an insurance company and you need a new bumper because somebody's driven into a post or somebody's driven to the back of you, and you're having to wait 3 months for that, and you're having to keep someone in a hire car which is of equivalent value to an I-Pace for that amount of time, that's a big old claim. So maybe they've just gone, no more Jaguars.
It is, because they would look at their books and say, look, I-Paces cost us money last year, so therefore the easiest thing to do is to say, no, we're not going to cover them. There's no legal requirement for them to do it. So I guess it's something like that, which is annoying if you're on the receiving end of it and you've done nothing. Because I often wonder how much my Ioniq 5 would be now, given all the theft and the insurance, with stuff with that going on, whether that would have shot up, I don't know. But
find out soon.
Well, I haven't got it anymore, have I?
Oh no, you haven't, have you? That's why you got the i3, yeah.
How's the buzz, Mike? Is it broken?
Got buzz. Keep up.
When did you get buzz?
Well,
I haven't spoken to you in so long, Mike.
Got in December. Yeah.
It's been that long since I've spoken to you. I can't believe I just swore. I'm sorry. Man, I'll speak to her.
What's broken on it this week, Mike?
Nothing's broken on it, but it's got a noise now. It's got a. I think the warmer weather means it's starting to make a noise, and it's not my idea. But I saw it was a buzzing noise, but I saw it the other day that someone said they should have a Shazam for car noises, for rattles and things.
They should. That's such a good idea.
So you hold your phone up, it squeak, and it says, if you're in an ID3, well, it's the panel underneath the steering column, and you'd know straight away. It would tell you, So that's, if someone can monetize that, I will buy that app without question.
Invent that app, make that app, trademark it immediately. Yeah. Do it.
Okay, I will do.
What have we got coming up before we say goodbye to everyone? Next week, I'm driving the new Renault 4. Exciting.
Oh, gosh, that's exciting.
I'm unexcited by that car. It's such a shame. I thought it would be great. A new Renault 4. The idea of that, like the new Renault 5, new Renault Twingo, brilliant. Renault 4, that'd be great. That'd be a utilitarian EV that's all stripped back to basic like the original 4 was. No. It's like a lardy, normal family hatchback with a grill stuck on the front.
Spoiler alert, it might be really good. Anyway, we'll have to find out. You have to tune in next week to find out, won't they?
Nicely done. If you've lasted this long, well done. Make sure you subscribe and all that sort of stuff. And if you're listening, then click the follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe, tell your friends, add some comments and some questions. And that's all the things from us. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.